This is Incredible Stories Podcast, Episode 6, Trapped Under the Sea.
Gather round now, everyone hear of incredible things. We'll tell you the stories of people we've met and creatures with clockwork and springs.
How's it going, everyone? It's Zane Wind.
And joining Zane as always, it's Josh Virla, and welcome to Incredible Stories Podcast. And thanks for continuing to listen to us. Today we have a interesting episode for you guys. Hopefully you agree. Zane, what's new with you?
Not much, Josh. I'm actually kind of stoked for tomorrow. There's this park that I'm pretty familiar with that's going to have like a food truck type festival. It's not really a festival. It's every Thursday they do it. But I kind of forgot about it, so they had their last, big Thursday food-a-thon thing, so I'm really excited to go and have some delicious food. How about you?
Well, nothing as interesting as food trucks up here, as you know. We don't have such fanciness on my end of Atlanta.
Too bad.
Yeah, it really is, because I could really go for some taco trucks.
You are not in Atlanta, by the way.
Close enough, for the listeners. But, you know what? Since I have nothing interesting to share, let's share something that is interesting. Let's go to our Headlines 120, Zane.
Nice. All right, I will go ahead, Josh.
Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Featherless penguin at SeaWorld given special wetsuit.
Oh.
Yeah, very cute story. A penguin suffering from feather loss at SeaWorld Orlando has been given a special wetsuit to help keep itself warm. SeaWorld staff created this special suit for the female Adelaide penguin known as Wonder Twin. Adorbs! This helps her to continue to enjoy her habitat in the Antarctica Empire of the Penguin exhibit. Actually, I just saw this in the summer, so I know exactly what they're talking about. It's very cool.
Okay.
She's a female penguin, and she's begun to experience feather loss, and, this is really bad for this habitat because it's very cold in there. It's like 32 degrees.
Uh-huh.
But the suit keeps her warm, and it keeps life normal for her and allows her to mingle with her fellow birds of wintry feather and as normal as she can and enjoy life and beautiful SeaWorld.
Well, that's good. SeaWorld needs some good positive stories, I guess, out, and that's definitely a cute one. So
gotta love penguins.
That's interesting, making makeshift little tuxedos for penguins.
Yes.
Very nice. All right, well, good job, Zane. Under time limit for that one. I guess I will go with my first one now. China clifftop village builds steel ladder for children to go to school.
Ugh.
So, it's been a while since I've been in school, but as a elementary school kid, I didn't have to worry about climbing sheer cliffs, which is what these kids in China's Sichuan province have to do. Apparently, their village is on top of a mountain, right?
Oh,
so
really?
They have to... Yeah, they're at the top of a mountain, and they have to traverse a ladder up and down and go to school. And the distance is about 800 meters. So it's about a half a mile. So the kids have to climb a cliff half a mile.
Oh my God.
Up both ways to get to the school.
Back in my day, we didn't use ladders.
Yeah.
We climbed with our ropes.
In the snow, uphill both ways. But apparently they used to use vines and stuff to build this ladder to get to the top of their village. But, those would rot and kids would die, occasionally falling off of them. So China said, you know what, we're going to just build you a steel one now. And, it's going to be a pretty hefty ladder. But, good for them getting their education on. I mean, that's dedication. And here we cried just having to walk a mile.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not many kids, I'm sure, that are walking a mile anymore either, We're spoiled rotten.
That's us. And that's my time. So, Zane, you can go up with your next one.
Wife wins $1 million trying to show husband lottery tickets are a waste of money.
Oh.
Yeah, in Leicester, North Carolina, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, a woman in North Carolina wanted to teach her husband a lesson about wasting money, but it backfired in the best possible way. Glinda Blackwell's husband, Buddy, asked her to buy 2 Powerball tickets over the weekend. She said she wanted to make a point that the tickets were a waste of money, So Blackwell instead bought a $10 scratch-off ticket for herself. I was going to be ugly and buy a scratch-off to show them that they don't hit, Blackwell told WLOS. It turns out the ticket was worth $1 million. The family, they took the lump sum of more than $415,000 after taxes. And they plan to buy a home with the money and set up a college fund for their 2 granddaughters. The last thing Blackwell said is, she said, "I had to eat my words, but they were worth eating."
Yeah, I guess he's got, forever bragging rights,
It's over. Like, she can never brag about anything again like he is.
Or just doubt him. You can't doubt him anymore. He's going to be right all the time.
So that's a hilarious story about luck right there,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's cool. I hope I have that kind of misfortune with my wife.
That would be nice.
All right, my next story, Zane. Pacific Islanders may carry the DNA of an unknown human species. Genetic study reveals ancient...
Aliens!
No, that's a double headline. But I'll just get into it. So, yeah, apparently the Pacific Islanders, known as the Melanesia, or Melanese people, suggest that they have DNA that is not just human, not just Neanderthal, and not just the Denisovans, but this other group that nobody really knows what it is. So they're trying to figure it out. I guess they need to do more research and archaeology to try to discover, bones or something from this group of people. But they say they have these genetic markers that aren't like anything else in people. So they think it's another branch of the human tree, and that'd be pretty cool. So yeah, and Melanesia is off the coast of Australia's northeast. So it includes like Papua New Guinea, the Solomon Islands, and those things up there. So, I thought that was kind of neat, a little DNA mystery. Maybe we'll learn more in the future.
I really want it to be aliens.
Yeah, it could be aliens, yes. All right, go ahead. You're up.
Alrighty. Gold coin worth 280,000 euros found in child's pirate treasure collection. The rare Queen Anne Vigo 5 guinea piece was given to an anonymous owner by his grandfather when he was a child, and he had no idea of its value. The rare 18th century coin was forgotten about until his granddad died, when he rediscovered the coin and gave it to his own son to play with. Experts told the man it was of 20 gold coins seized from Spanish treasure ships in Spain in 1702. According to the father, he said, "My granddad traveled all over the world during his working life and collected many coins," which is kind of a cool hobby, "from the various countries he had been to. And he gave me bags of coins to play with throughout my early years because I was really into pirate treasure."
Of course, who isn't?
Yeah, and he said, "I looked back to the coins, remembering the stories I made up about them when I was small, and then gave them to my own son to play with them and put it in his own little treasure chest. And my little boy has been playing with this coin as I did all the years ago, which I think is cool. But I think it's even cooler that one of these coins, it could be sold for 280,000 euros. So good
That's
for
pretty
this
good.
family,
Oh, absolutely. Well, I guess we can't learn any more because that is your time on that one, Zane. All right, so my third one, Zane. Roaming fashion robots keep busy doing odd jobs on your clothes.
Oh, good.
So, so a robot story. This one not from Japan.
What?
But, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and Stanford University have developed these little robot cars that attach to your clothes via a magnetic wheel between the back of your clothing and the front of your clothing. And I guess what they're intending for them to do is to be able to roll over your body and do certain things that you might do, say like a Fitbit would do. It would zip on over to your wrist and sit there and get your pulse or whatever.
That's creepy.
Or they can configure into a name tag type of thing on you. I mean, the possibilities are limitless, but of course this is in the early stages of development, so they're kind of clunky and look like little Hot Wheel cars on your body, but eventually we'll get to the point like Iron Man where it'll just like come out of your shirt and you'll have like a
I'm fine with that because that's seamless and it looks cool. But just having these little things, I mean, it just looks creepy, It's, like you said, clunky. It just doesn't look right yet,
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely first generation, so... but, they're kind of cool looking. We'll have a link in our show notes, obviously, but check those out.
Alrighty. Well, robots. Alrighty, well, great headlines. 120 today, always interesting and informative.
Mm-hmm. All right. That's what we intend to do.
Yeah. Hey, Josh, what's that smell?
Victory? No, wait.
No, Josh. It's the smell of fear and maybe fish.
Oh.
And also the smell of one very fortunate cook's food supply being ruined as it sinks to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean.
Well, that sounds depressing.
Yes, but actually, it's depressing for a few people, but there is one incredible story that comes out of it. Our main incredible story this week focuses on a Nigerian cook who survived being stuck in a sunken tugboat that's sunken for nearly 3 days at the bottom of the frickin' sea.
Well, I implore you to tell us more, Zane.
Well, 3 years ago, on May 26, 2013, a tugboat called the Jaskin 4 had 12 crew members, including our main hero and main survivor, the ship's cook, Harrison. Excuse me, audience, this is going to be a little hard.
No forgiveness.
Yeah, you've had to deal with a lot of names before, so no judgment. So Harrison, which is easy. Ajedba Okeen. So Okeen wasn't that bad. It could be Okini. I'm going to say Okeen.
That sounds good to me.
We're going to call him Harrison Okeen. So they were on a tugboat, and they were traveling through, at this point, the rough waters off the coast of Nigeria. So these 12 crewmen on this tugboat were pulling along an oil tanker.
Okay.
When all of a sudden, an ocean swell overcame the boat and snapped their tow rope. The impact of this wave caused the Jaskin 4 to capsize around 4:30 a.m. that day.
I don't like where this is going.
So Harrison Okeen was in the bathroom when the rogue wave hit the tugboat and caused the boat to turn over and begin to sink. Unfortunately, the other 11 members were asleep and locked in their cabins. So thankfully, Okeen, he had to go number 1 and number 2, and this actually saved his life. But the reason why his other crew members they were locked was because there was a recent safety measure enacted due to recent pirate activity in the coastal region around Nigeria, where innocent seafarers would be robbed and their vessels would be abducted and looted. So they locked themselves as a safety measure inside their rooms. But unfortunately, this well-intentioned safety feature would bring about the deaths and the doom of the rest of these crew members.
Well-intentions. Okay, so they're in the tugboat, Zane, and then a rogue wave capsizes it and knocks it over.
That's correct.
So what a rogue wave is, for the listeners, is it's any wave in the ocean that is about twice as high as the normal waves during that time on the ocean. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
So, they're not necessarily huge waves like a tidal wave, but they just have to be twice as big as whatever's currently on the ocean. They can generate a lot of force, these rogue waves, and just water in general. Just so much energy in water. But a rogue wave can dwarf the normal output of a wave. And most ships are built to withstand 21 psi's for a breaking wave. But a rogue wave can generate like 140 psi.
Whew.
So, that is just like totally demolishes a ship, obviously. And that's, probably what happened here. The ship just bloop.
It just couldn't take it. And, it sounds like the waters a little rough during this early morning hour. But it seems like, so these rogue waves, they can come out of nowhere, I'm assuming, right?
Oh, yeah. There's lots of different causes for, it could be an earthquake or a landslide under the ocean. It just, the causes of them can be, so there's so many different ways they can generate, but they're just unpredictable. So, they pop up out of nowhere, surprise people, and, of course, they can be very devastating.
Yeah, and it was definitely devastating as this rogue wave struck this vessel. But like we said, thankfully Okeen was unpredictable himself, and that he went to the bathroom instead of staying locked in his own little quarters, because that's what saved his life. The other people, they were locked, and maybe he didn't like his own cooking. I don't know, and he had to go to the restroom. But maybe he was lactose intolerant. But luck was on his side. But as this rogue wave struck the vessel, Okeen was tossed violently from the bathroom while wearing only his boxers. Now, in a later interview, he's speaking to The Nation. He said, "I was dazed, and everywhere was dark."
Oh, wait, Zane, wait. I'm not gonna let you off that easy. You're gonna have to do this in a Nigerian accent.
Okay, all right. Oh, damn you! All right, let's see. I was dazed, and everywhere was dark as I was thrown from one end of the small cubicle to another. He told the nation. Oh my God, that was like kind of Jamaican. I don't know what that was.
That was awful, but all right.
Straight up awful. We'll just continue that pattern of awful accents. But nice surprise, though. Damn you. But yes, he was knocked around, but once he was able to settle himself, he was able to move around the vessel after the initial shock, and he moved towards the engineer's office. And at this time, the boat is sinking. So you just got to imagine it's really difficult to maneuver. Things are falling over. Gravity's probably constantly switching because the boat, is moving as it's sinking. But thankfully, he has enough air as he's moving around towards the engineer's office.
Was the boat upside down at this point, or just right side up sinking?
It ended up on the floor of the sea, being upside down.
Okay.
So everything was completely askew. It was just a mess when the divers eventually found O'Keen. And so, like I said, he made his way into the engineer's office, and in this office, he survived because there was a pocket of air that miraculously did not collapse during the sinking of the ship. And as O'Keen settled inside this pocket of air, the boat had nestled, like I said, upside down on the seabed, about 100 feet below the surface.
Oh, geez, man, I can't imagine. That's got to be so disorientating. It's just like, how do you find your way anywhere? It had to have been just dumb luck.
Right, and I mean, yeah, it was completely dumb luck. He's probably doesn't even realize exactly that the whole boat is sinking, and he said that he was hearing his crewmates like scream during this whole period because they couldn't get out, and even the crewmates were saying like, "Are we sinking?" Like no one knows, so it's total chaos, confusion, and I just can't imagine the level of terror that this guy went through, and of course his crewmates went through, but unfortunately they did not survive. But as O'Keen settled in this air pocket, so he was nearly naked. He's wet, cold. He has no food or fresh water at hand, really. But like he was losing oxygen steadily, but he was able to keep himself, just in the moment. And he just kind of just stayed where he was. I think he realized, of course, like the water is around him, so he can't really swim anywhere. There's probably debris everywhere. So he kind of stayed put, and probably he was reassessing his situation. But any rational person could view this circumstance of survival during this period as near zero.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know anybody who's been through anything like that, but I just imagine like your air pocket, like in the room he was in. I mean, it's got to be leaking out slowly, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the big fear. I mean, I'm not sure how much he really was thinking about this, but there is a lot of there's a science to it, which I will get into, and how how lucky he was. Okay. So O'Keen, he did survive, and just like you were saying, like you don't know many people who went through this. There are stories about similar stories to this. Not many people have survived something like this, but we do have one little story where this guy survived a lengthy period of time underwater, just like O'Keen. In 1991, actually, this man named Michael Proudfoot, I just keep thinking about The Hobbit when I think about that. Anyways, but he was a scuba diver, and he was exploring an underwater wreck near the Baja California coast when his breathing regulator broke. I think he ran into part of the ship. But thanks to his quick thinking, Proudfoot, he found an air pocket in the wreckage. I'm sure he just swam quickly, and he found a place where he was able to find an air pocket. And in this air pocket, Proudfoot survived for 2 days on eating raw sea urchins. And amazingly enough, there was a pot of like small water he was able to drink out of, which I don't know. I was kind of looking through the story. I'm like, how is that possible? Maybe it was like a condensation thing that happened. That's the only thing I could think of. But that's what the story said. and he was eventually rescued by divers.
Wow, that's kind of interesting. Air pockets.
Yeah, air pockets. The best type of pockets. Much better.
Yeah.
Much better than the lava hot.
Hot lava.
Pepperoni pockets. But that's amazing, and like you just got to think of the odds of these things happening. I mean, usually, I mean, if one of us were in that situation, most likely we would kick the bucket.
Oh, probably, yeah. But before you go further, Zane, I do have a theory I'm going to throw out there.
Oh yeah.
On how this guy survived. I'm going to say a mermaid saved him.
A mermaid.
Yeah, that's my theory. Don't spoil it for me, but that's my theory. I will see if I'm right.
Okay. All right. That's an interesting theory right there. But let's see if the science applies to that theory.
Okay. So
O'Keen actually survived for nearly 3 days. This other guy, Proudfoot, he survived for 2. So O'Keen, in a later interview, estimated that his air pocket, kind of the space where he was able to breathe and move around, was only about like 4 feet high. In normal conditions, humans inhale about 350 cubic feet of air per day. So how did O'Keen survive for nearly 3 days on this low level of oxygen? And here's we got a physicist, and he's actually a recreational scuba diver, Maxim Umansky of the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory.
Okay.
He said O'Keen can thank his lucky stars because of the pressure of the ocean floor. So just kind of the high pressure of being like so far down, 100 feet down on the floor bed of the sea, it compressed his air pocket to a factor of 4. Now, if the pressurized pocket were about 216 cubic feet, that's 6 cubic meters, Umansky believed the pocket would contain enough oxygen to keep O'Keen alive for about 2.5 days, and that's pretty much how long he was able to last. When the divers found him, they estimated really, if they didn't go down then, he would have suffocated.
Okay. So he's saying, because the ship's overturned under the water, that the normal amount of air that would have been in that room would have been 4 times more because it would have been less pressure, but because of the pressure of the ocean pushing on it, it squeezed all that air into that little 4-foot pocket.
Yep, squeezed all the oxygen into that area. Okay. And, thankfully O'Keen was able to find that area, and he just chilled out there, terrified, wet, cold, hungry, probably pissing himself, but he survived. And so, thankfully for O'Keen, this pocket was slightly larger in a sense, so he lasted for another 12 hours or so. But you got to think about it, there isn't just breathing in oxygen to survive. As you know, when humans breathe in oxygen, they exhale carbon dioxide. Now, this kind of goes back to our other episode in Apollo 13, when the crewmates, when they started getting low on oxygen, they also meant they were breathing in this oxygen, but also breathing out a lot of CO2, and CO2 can be deadly. So, O'Keen was facing a chance of carbon dioxide poisoning as he breathed in this small pocket of air. Now, CO2 is deadly when it reaches 5%, but O'Keen unknowingly probably saved himself because he was moving around in the water, splashing around, probably being just scared, trying to find anything to food. He's probably looking for food. He's probably
It's dark, right? So
yes.
He's just reaching for
it's
stuff.
dark. Well, it is dark, but thankfully some of the things that kind of helped him. One reason why he's able to stay hydrated, he actually found 1 can of Coke that was floating around, and so he was sipping on that during the whole time. But he also did find a life vest that had 2 flashlights on it.
Sure, you don't want to waste those
it kind of it kept it bright, but it was still very dark in there. But so he was moving around, smart. And also what he did, he kind of propped himself on a mattress so that his body wasn't in the water the whole time. So as he was moving around, all this water is also actually absorbing the CO2 in itself. So as he's moving around, this water splashing around, it created increased surface area that kept the CO2 levels from reaching the 5% threshold. So I thought that was a pretty cool factoid. I didn't really think about how even water itself, just like, CO2 is going to get absorbed in walls or solid objects, gases will get absorbed in liquids as well.
Sure, so the more water he splashes around, the more CO2 can get absorbed.
Right.
That's an interesting survival technique there. I never really thought about that one if it ever happened, but that's definitely one to keep in the pocket.
Right. I mean, just like, if you had a paper fan, you're moving a gas away or, moving hot air away from you to cool off. Like, just think about it in space, in a form of space, if you move around, you're going to move, the gases around or something like that. You know what I mean? But it's not over for O'Keen. So many dangers when you're under the sea, 100 feet down.
Under
so
the
many
sea.
dangers. Under the sea. Life is not better when you're O'Keen under
No.
the sea. So, remember how I told you how he moved kind of a mattress to kind of stay above the water?
Yeah.
Well, of course, this water was very cold, and he was facing the deadly danger of hypothermia. And this occurs when a person's core temperature drops to 95 degrees Fahrenheit or below. And so the symptoms of hypothermia, this includes confusion, confusion, movement problems. I mean, you got to be shaking around like I can't even. Amnesia, so you start to forget things. You probably start kind of tripping out, like seeing a lot of things too. And then there's this really weird syndrome that occurs that I read about, and it's called a terminal burrowing syndrome.
He turns into a gopher?
Basically, so it's this really incredible phenomenon when at a certain point after struggling through hypothermia, you feel this odd sensation where you feel like you're actually getting warmer. And so what you do is this is like the near stages of death. Mm-hmm. So you feel like you're hallucinating probably, your body's probably just like tricking you, oh, you're getting warmer. It's probably just trying to prepare you, yeah, you're going to die, or, kind of a trick on the mind. So what you do during this pretty much final stage, you strip off you have this urge to strip off all your clothes and kind of nestle in the closest, like, kind of cave-like structure as you possibly can. Kind of like a hibernating animal. So, I mean, I don't know where he would have done it in this area, but like when people struggle in hypothermia in wintry conditions, you'll find a lot of people, like let's say on Mount Everest or other places, you'll see them when they struggled and died of hypothermia, they've dug themselves into the snow and made a little burrow. And it's this really weird effect that people go through when they're about to die of hypothermia.
I guess they just kind of like snap back to a primeval stage and your most basic instinct takes over.
Yeah, and you just kind of, like, I'm just going to die. I mean, I don't know if they really know that. They probably think they're getting better.
Yeah.
They just kind of, they burrow and they die.
I guess they're actually, that's kind of nice. They do the digging and bury themselves for you, so you don't have to do it. So that's nice. It's polite.
Very, very selfless of them, even if they don't realize it.
Yeah.
So this was a thing that O'Keen was definitely facing. And now, if the water's, the water can be like 60 degrees. And, that's cold, but it doesn't seem that cold. But that can also lead to hypothermia. Mm-hmm. But this water was even colder. But O'Keen, he was able to avoid all this. And who knows, like, if he realized, like, what danger he's in. And he probably just naturally, he's like, I'm cold. I got to get out of the water. But he avoided this, like I said, by sitting on top of a mattress, which kept most of his body out of the water. Now, like I said a little before, he was able to survive because he found a bottle of Coca-Cola, kind of sipped on that to keep him barely hydrated, I'm assuming.
Product placement!
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Coca-Cola, saving Nigerians off the coast. Okay. Now, according to O'Keen in a later interview, think about this. He's facing so many horrible things.
Yeah.
Now, as this tugboat has settled onto the sea floor, of course, you're getting some creatures coming in to inspect everything. This includes fish and sharks.
And mermaids?
And, not mermaids.
No.
So this is where your theory is debunked.
No.
Sorry. But O'Keen, he said, he said he heard fish and sharks. They were able to get into these other rooms that probably got broken open where his crewmates were with the sinking of the boat. And he said he heard them munching on his crewmates.
Oh, no thank you.
Like, this has got to have been pretty much hell, like hell on earth.
Yeah.
Hell in the sea. Let's refrain. And like that's ugh. So he had to face all that. But with that, especially with hearing your crewmates being eaten or possibly even seeing it, he was starting to lose hope. But amazingly, incredibly, salvage divers from the Dutch company DCN Diving, they finally found O'Keen. So now here is a reenactment of these divers finding O'Keen.
Are you still on top of the stairs?
I think I'm on top of the stairs now.
Yes, it's going to be another stair going down to the main level, and we're going to go that way, okay? Alright. How are you doing? Just talk to me and I'll help you, okay?
Okay. I'm at the top of the stairs now.
Okay. So, you should be coming up into the next deck, right?
I'm entering the main deck now.
Alright. You should be walking on the ceiling, right?
Yeah. Oh, there's...
Oh, you found one? Yeah?
He's alive!
He's alive! He's alive?
Grab my hand!
Oh, okay. Keep him here. Keep him there, mate. Keep him there. Alright, just hold him there.
I'm gonna keep him here.
I don't know what to do. Alright. Just keep him there and keep him calm, okay?
Okay.
Just reassure him. Pat him on the shoulder, okay? Just reassure him. Give him a thumbs up and reassure him, okay? Just thumbs up, pat him on the shoulder, just keep reassuring him.
Alrighty, so that's how the divers actually found O'Keen. And there's amazing videos you can find online at YouTube and all over the place that show this.
We'll probably put that in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. And it's incredible. And so this company, they do salvage work, for whatever contractor hires them. And unfortunately, when accidents like this happen, they do recover bodies. So you have to just imagine, this crew, this diving crew, they have this grim job. They got to recover anything valuable, probably, to the contractor, and have to recover the bodies for the families.
Mm-hmm. I would have my pants when they're under the water, the divers, and they're reaching up, and the dude's hand comes down. The sharks and stuff enough for me to my diving suit, but when that hand reaches out, jeez.
Because they're looking for dead bodies. Diving is already creepy enough. It's very murky, according to this video. And when you see the video, it looks like the hand of O'Keen. Like, obviously, he's just kind of like sitting there in the water, and his hand was just floating there. So as the camera comes into view, you see the hand, and it looks like just like a dead hand floating there. But then, then it moves, and yes, as you can see from the video and hear from our reenactment, it scared the crap out of the crew that was, topside, and also, this diver, or if he had multiple divers around him who saw him. That, terrifying. Mm-hmm. But once they realized what happening and they were getting their composure, they realized, all right, we got to figure out a way to save this man. And it's amazing, when this diver who discovered O'Keen, when he kind of emerges into the air pocket, you see O'Keen kind of floating there, and he looks so terrified. Now O'Keen, he's kind of like a heavyset man, and he barely has space inside this pocket, and he looks terrified. He's mumbling, and you have to imagine how scared he must be too. He might be thinking, oh my god, am I dying? Is this my
have the sharks grown arms?
Yeah, he's probably, he could be kind of tripping out or something.
Oh yeah, too. Hallucinating.
Yeah, hallucinating. And incredible. And they were able to rescue him. And so this was pretty close to 60 hours that he's been under there. And so before this happened, actually, during this terrible ordeal, O'Keen, he was praying, he was hoping, he thought of his family and friends, and he was just talking and keeping himself busy, and I think that's what kind of helped save him. And then he was finally rescued. And so what the divers and what this diving company had to do is they had to kind of bring in a small decompression chamber and put O'Keen in it. So they had to put kind of a suit on him to drag him through the water, and they put him in this chamber, and they slowly brought him up. And O'Keen, he had no idea how much actual time had passed. According to him, he said, when we came out...
Zane.
Sorry. You have something to say?
No, in the Nigerian accent.
Oh, damn it. Okay. You're right. Okay. Well, when we came out, I saw the stars in the sky, and I thought I must have been in the water for a whole day, O'Keen told the nation. It was after I left the DCC, decompression chamber, that I was told that I spent nearly 3 days there.
She was like Italian, did something. I don't know what.
Whatever. It's because it's the transition from American accent to my terrible.
It is very hard, but the decompression sickness is a pretty nasty thing if you get it. Divers usually suffer that. It's sometimes called the bends because your body contorts into weird positions because of the pain. But essentially, how that happens, Zane, is that the body tissue is absorbing the nitrogen from the breathing gas that the diver. So whatever's in your tank, usually nitrogen's in there mixed with the oxygen. So when you rise too quickly, the nitrogen expands and goes into your bloodstream and your tissues and forms bubbles. And this can be very, very dangerous. You can get, you can die from it. That's the most severe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the most severe thing. So he's coming out of the boat. Yeah, his dangers aren't over yet. You could still die from the bends. Although not everyone dies from it. Depends on the severity of it. But you can have, just fatigue, joint pain, dizziness, numbness, shortness of breath are some of the signs. But yeah, it definitely is dangerous. You got to watch out for that. You kind of think of it like, when you have like a soda, right? Mm-hmm. And before you open it, you don't see any bubbles. But then you open it because the pressure difference, it's less pressure. Once you open it, then all the bubbles start rising to the top. So that's what happens in your body. So that's pretty gross. But Zane, you won't get the bends if you're just like free diving, taking a breath at the surface of the water and diving down and then coming back up. You won't experience that. That's something that's only if you're taking in oxygen and nitrogen from your breathing apparatus because of the pressure and stuff like that.
Thank you for clarifying.
Sure, yeah, no problem. That's what I'm here for.
Well, let's go back to O'Keen and wrap up his incredible story of survival. So, of course, after this, once he went through this decompression process and he was rehydrated, he had food again, he was able to be introduced back to his family. I'm sure he had to deal with all sorts of, insurance stuff or whatever with the government there. But once he was settled back in, of course, he was incredibly shaken. Mm-hmm. So this Dutch company, they continued just diving and salvaging anything that was salvageable. They were able to bring back the bodies of the 11 other crewmates.
Well, that's good.
Right, so that the families and the community can have proper funerals for them. But unfortunately for O'Keen, he didn't attend these funerals because of the superstitious nature of the Nigerian community. He feared many people would judge him or try to hurt him for being the only one to survive. And he was actually accused by some people of using black magic or voodoo to survive.
It's actually in West Africa, Zane. They call it juju.
Juju? Okay.
Yeah, that's the black magic there in that area. But very similar, with the spells and stuff like that. So, but that's terrible. Like, yeah, they thought, hey, you survived, you must be a witch.
Right, especially for days underwater. Like, some of these people in this community, they probably. It seems like a crazy miracle to them that he survived, and it could be viewed as evil.
Yeah, although I'd probably use that to my advantage. I would be like, I'm an all-powerful sorcerer. I survived underwater for 2 days. Come at me, bro.
I can breathe underwater. I am the Lord of the Sea.
Yeah.
But, he's very glad to be alive. But, this is obviously going to impact him for the rest of his life. Mm-hmm. And to this day, he lives simply. He just lives in a modest home, but he definitely does not work out in the sea anymore. He actually, he said in an interview after the accident that, he prayed to God when he was in the sunken vessel that, he would never return to the sea if he was saved. And he has stayed true to that promise. And just freakishly enough, I mean, imagine this, like, he still has nightmares where his wife has to wake him out of that. He believes that his bed is sinking, and so he constantly has these. So, I mean, obviously just a crazy form of PTSD.
Oh, yeah.
And so he'll probably have to suffer with that for the rest of his life.
That's horrible.
Right. But, this was a amazing story of survival, and I love these, especially, for, our content and what crazy odds he had to overcome. But, Josh, what do you think about this crazy story of this man who survived being under the sea for nearly 2 days?
Well, first of all, I'm disappointed the mermaid did not save him. But,
Nope.
I always like these types of stories of just human will to survive. And when you read accounts of things like that, that's always a big part of it is just, surviving in situations is how much will do you have to actually come through it. And apparently he didn't want to die under the ocean, and I don't blame him. I wouldn't want to die under the ocean either. I don't even like going on the ocean. So I definitely understand his pact with God for never going back in the ocean again. Although,
right.
I wouldn't need a pact to do that. I would just say, you know what? I'm good. I'm just going to stay on land and cook in a Denny's or something. That's what I would do. But
I feel like most people would agree with you and just would never go back. That's got to completely just to screw with your mind. Oh, yeah, and then having all those nightmares afterward. I mean, God, you dreaming about, like, sharks circling you all the time, and, how many of them did he see? I'm sure they came up into his little pocket every once in a while, checking him out, say, hey, what's going on in here? Nothing. Yeah, he had the 2 flashlights. He probably can see, whatever, fish or sharks were moving around there, because they're curious animals, and they want food, so they're exploring every part of the ship, because there was plenty to sadly eat in there. Yeah, I guess I guess that kind of worked in his advantage. There was other things to draw their attention away from him. So, because he's just on a mattress floating, that's got to be getting waterlogged and him getting bogged down. So I can't imagine his thought process under there. That would be one of the worst ways to go, I think. Yeah. Just dying underneath a boat in the ocean. Well, I think, obviously him kind of talking to himself and praying and thinking about his family, that kept him going and kept him moving and probably searched around the air pocket as much as he could. But, it wouldn't have mattered. Like, if divers didn't come the time they did, he would have slowly run out of air. Now, I'm wondering if that would have been kind of like a peaceful, I guess it wouldn't have been a peaceful way to go. You wouldn't just go to sleep, would you? Yeah, I guess you would, because you're breathing in all the CO2, so you would just kind of pass out, I guess. And then you'd probably fall in the water, maybe drown or something. But but you'd be passed out because you have no oxygen in your body. Right. So that might not be so bad, I guess. Yeah. So that was coming for him, but amazingly enough, the divers came. But yeah, that's the story of Harrison O'Keene. And God bless you, man. I'm hoping you're cooking and doing well over there. Yeah, more power to you. Poseidon smiled favorably upon ye. Yes, he did. But you know who Poseidon also smiles favorably upon, Zane? Some watery haikus? You are correct, sir. Time for the haikus. You can go first this time, Josh. Alrighty, I go first. Mine, I wasn't feeling as much humor in these as previous ones, so they're actually, it was kind of a depressing story. But I will bring my best. So, Zen music. There once was a guy who got stuck under a boat, drank nothing but Coke. I like the little rhyme there. Yeah, maybe Coke. Maybe Coke will pick that up for an advertisement. Yeah, they should. I wonder, is Coke be if they heard about this story? I don't know if there's really anything going on with him, but the big, we can help this guy out, be endorsement. But wait, 11 other people died. Yeah. Maybe we shouldn't touch this one. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe discreetly. I don't know. Yeah. Well, I will go. Yeah, hit me with it. Harrison O'Keene. Tugboat sinking survivor. Will cook, but not sail.
So that's his Craigslist ad.
Yes.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, it's nice.
That's his Craigslist and also on his resume.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. All right, number 2. This Nigerian, an unexpected diver, black magic or luck?
Oh, this is kind of similar to mine. Next IQ.
Did I gank it? I ganked it.
I mean, what does gank mean?
Like,
Stole it?
Yeah, that's how I use
Okay.
it.
Oh, never heard of that term.
I think it's a regional thing from where I'm from.
Virginia or something like that?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, weirdos. So yeah, this is pretty close. A Nigerian was accused of dark magic for being lucky. So, pretty similar.
Oh, all right, similar. We were on the same vibe there.
Yes.
All right. I have a third one. Did you have 3, you said?
Yeah, I have one.
Okay. All right, so my final one. One thing that was learned when at sea during a storm, leave Tom Hanks at home.
Yes.
Gotta squeeze Tom Hanks into every episode, it seems.
Yeah, I like it.
All
The
right.
thing is, if he was on there, if he was on that boat, would he have survived? Because it seems like terrible things happen on all these trips Tom Hanks on, but would he have been in the air pocket with O'Keefe?
Oh, probably. Yeah, Tom Hanks always survives. Maybe O'Keefe is the Nigerian Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say. Speaking of that, they need to make a movie about this.
Oh, I'm sure it's in the works. Starring Tom Hanks.
I mean, he's a very good actor, but no, let's get this realistic. Let's get Idris Elba or someone who can really pull it off.
Oh, yeah, he'd be good.
Really good black actor. Be even better if they're from Africa. That'd be even. They got to be kind of a little chunky because O'Keefe is chunky.
Oh, they're gonna make him like awesome looking now.
Really handsome.
Yeah, and for the movies, yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah.
So Elba would be great.
Yeah, he would. Let's see. Okay, I'll do my last one. Coke saved O'Keefe's life. It just kept him hydrated. Endorsement deal, Coke?
Yeah, Coke, get on it.
Come on.
Hook up my boy.
Even though there might be some kind of weird PR with it, I feel like you can do it. Or at least do it quietly.
Yeah, you know what? For listeners, maybe we should start a hashtag for this, hashtag O'Keefe Coke.
Hashtag O'Keefe Coke. I can go with that.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll
We'll put that in the show notes and
Yeah.
share it. Coke's gonna see this, their Facebook people, or Twitter, would be like, "What is going on? What?"
What is this story?
Yeah. Well, that is our story for today and our show. Thank you guys for listening. As always,
You made it through another episode. Congratulations.
another episode, another incredible, epic story.
Mm-hmm.
Now, be incredible and epic yourself by following us on Facebook and at Twitter. Our handle is @IncredPod. Check out our site. We do have those links up. Our site is IncredibleStoriesPodcast.com. And we will have show notes and all sorts of little other factoids and links, including to our headlines.
Yeah, and send us some haikus. We want to hear what you got to say.
Yeah, and make them funny, make them tragic, make them serious. Who cares? As long as it pertains to the story or Tom Hanks, doesn't matter.
If you have story ideas, let us know too. We'll see if we can cover it for you.
Yep, that sounds good.
Well, for Incredible Stories Podcast, I'm Josh.
And I'm Zane.
And remember, the journey of 1,000 tales begins with the first word.
See you guys later.
Gather round now, everyone here, hear of incredible things. We'll tell you the stories of people we've met and creatures with clockwork and springs. As we've sailed through the tunnels of time, spreading our message in songs. We've seen many wonders and heard many tales of future and times now forgone.